Jonathan Railton on pole position on the Bosch Plumbing Art of Racing 848. Gets his customary good start on bike number 40, but a rapid descent down Paddock Hill Bend from the second row of the grid, and that might be Ben Field because he's the tiniest man out there, and he usually makes rocket ship starts as they drop into Druids Hill Bend, and that means that Jonathan Railton has got consumed a little in the pack. Now he's got a bit of work to do, but he doesn't take long in setting about opening up an advantage at the front. So Jonathan Railton, the championship leader. Marty Nutt needs to try and get the better of him, having won yesterday's race. It's actually Leon Morris who's in the front, the 2011 champion, ahead of the returning Spike Edwards. Dennis Hobbs in third, Railton with work to do in fourth, Marty Nutt even more work to do in fifth. Ahead of Byron Beckett. Darren Fry, the lap record holder, is seventh ahead of Dan Fowler and Ed Smith as they plunge off under the bridge down into Pilgrim's Drop, and then this short, sharp burst along the Minter Straight. As they barge across the line at the end of the first lap, the leader is number 2, Leon Morris, number 121, Spike Edwards forcing the pace behind him. And look at that, Dennis Hobbs losing out as they drop down through Paddock Hill Bend, and Hobbs, originally from Gisborough in North Yorkshire, finds himself forced back by Marty Nutt. It's Marty Nutt who's making moves. He's absolutely buoyant with confidence after yesterday's win and a victory at Snetterton. Just 3 points off the championship lead, and the Ulsterman is really putting pressure on now in number 77 in third place. There's a jump start right through penalty for the number 69 machine. That's Peter Hasler from Chertsey on the second of the Bosch Plumbing Art of Racing bikes.
Marty Nutt is almost certainly about to make a move on Edwards. He was going up the inside there, so you could see Edwards. This is the start. Oh, yeah, it's a massive jump start on the full throw on the inside. Yeah, but I was just going to say Marty Nutt there. You can see the bike that we're looking at, number 77 with the red, white and blue. He, unbelievably, Jonathan Railton, who's, he's won 5 out the first 6 races. He looked like, what a massive moment by
that was Marty Nutt.
That was enormous. He had too much power on the tyres, aren't fully up to temperature, and as you come over there, the bike goes light. We'll see it again with the
straight back in front of Hobbsy.
Right. Well, watch the second bike in the picture. Watch his rear. Whoa! Wow, he was lucky to get away with that one. Look at it from that angle. It is seriously twisted up.
A new lap record for the 2011 champion, number 2, Leon Morris from Stockbridge on the Stockbridge Racing 848. And he's opening up a gap at the front.
He certainly is. He's really getting to grips with it. And if they're going to have, both Railton and Nutt, they're going to want to try and get back at him. I think Nutt's going to just be taking it easy for a little bit.
Well, he instantly retook Dennis Hobbs, so he's back there in third place, trying to chase down Spike Edwards, who's made a remarkable recovery, the Harrogate-paced Liverpudlian, after giving himself such a battering at both Donington and Snetterton.
But a good third for place yesterday for Edwards. I mean, in the championship, the main thing in the championship that you've got to know at home is there's just 3 points between Jonathan Railton, who's leading it, number 40, and Marty Nutt, who's in second, who's currently in third in the race, and currently they're third and fifth in the race. So that's the battle, the big battle for the championship.
Test your maths there, young man. So that's 16 points would go to third place if they stayed where they were, and 11 points. So that would mean that Marty Nutt would just creep into the lead if Dennis Hobbs there on the black bike were able to fend off Jonathan Railton, number 40, because Railton is the championship leader, and Hobbsy there running in 4th place is currently keeping that man down into 5th.
Now, it looks to me, though, I think Railton might have just lost a fraction of confidence, because, he had that crash yesterday. He's been dominant all the time, and he's, I know it's only lap 4 of 10, but you haven't got a long while, and he just doesn't look quite himself. But look at this, Marty Nutt, he's up into second. He's closing that gap on the leader, Leon Morris. That has definitely come down. He's also put the fastest lap of the race in, which is another new lap record, 1:31.493. So the man in...
Railton responds. He's got past Dennis Hobbs. So Railton, realising that Nutt is getting the better of things here and could even win this race, now has a long gap ahead of him to try and close down on the front 3.
You can see Jonathan Railton there, number 40. On the Boost Plumbing bike. He is really getting on the back of Mike Edwards there. I think first and second are still safe, to be honest, but I think that Mike Edwards has got to worry.
He's reckoned to be one of the hardest men to pass on track, the 51-year-old from Harrogate. I beg your pardon, I hope I'm not doing him a disservice. He might still be 50. Oh, he's having moments. And the tyres seem to be giving people some moments here. Why? Look at that.
Not
that
for
moment
Jonathan Railton.
Because Railton just charged through. And Railton now has his rival Marty Nutt in his sight.
There you go, look at that. Jonathan Railton is nearly on the back of him.
And I think, was that Marty Nutt taking a long look over his left shoulder then to see what was going on?
Yeah. Now this is going to...
He sees that number 40 filling his rear view mirror.
He's got to keep it all neat. He's got to cover the inside as well, especially going into clearways. That is where Jonathan Railton is undoubtedly going to have a look. Looked like he lost a fraction of time in there, went a little bit wide. Oh, you can probably hear them. There's a back marker coming up as well. That could be interesting. But he's just got to keep it nailed, got to keep it tight. He covers himself a line. And again, this is what it's all about. He's got the back markers moving out of the way. Jonathan Railton's surely going to have a look up the inside. He can't do it on that lap.
Diving through clearways, he's got to do it on this lap. It's the final lap. It's going to be Leon Morris's race, but the dive for the line will decide the championship lead, and Marty Nutt does hang on. The man from Castle Rock just beats Huntingdon's Jonathan Railton across the line, gets that third place for Railton, fourth for Spike Edwards, fifth. Hobbs gets back on Benfield and grabs that fifth place. A victory for number 2, Leon Morris, and the championship lead for number 77, Marty Nutt. He survived a couple of lurid moments, but he held off the ex-championship leader Jonathan Railton, and 1 point will separate them when they head for the next round. Ducati TriOptions 848 Challenge, the second race result of the weekend. It's Leon Morris who takes his maiden victory of the year, having won the championship in 2011. Marty Nutt just hangs on to second place vitally to take a 1 point lead in the championship from Jonathan Railton. Spike Edwards on his return is fourth. Dennis Hobbs wins his duel with Benfield for fifth place. Darren Fry finishes seventh ahead of Dan Fowler, Ed Smith and Jack Keane. 11th place goes to Simon ahead of Brown, Holden, Neary and Poyser, the final point scorer, ahead of Galloway, Wilson, Brown, Gilfallen and Richardson. Ducati TriOptions 848 Challenge, and 1 point separating Marty Nutt and Jonathan Railton at the top of the table. Leon Morris is clear in third place now. Dennis Hobbs fourth, Darren Fry fifth, just 5 points ahead of Dan Fowler in sixth. Spike Edwards just 2 points further back in seventh place on his return. Byron Beckett in eighth ahead of Brown and Ed Smith. 11th place for Little Benfield ahead of Jack Keane, with Simon, Neary and Robbie Brown rounding out the top 15. And behind them in 16th place Holden, Wilson and then Poyser, Galloway and the other Brown. There are many Browns.
And our winner, Leon Morris, how was your race?
Yeah, it was not too eventful really. We led most of it. Marty come by and made a mistake going out onto the big circuit, and that allowed us a way through. And once I got through, I mean, Marty's thinking of a championship, so I knew he might not be snapping at my heels too much, but we had good pace and obviously rode round. I was following my pit board and he chased me home all the way, but it was a good race.
Congratulations, well done.
Thanks, mate. I didn't bring him back, but I'd just like to dedicate this race to a friend of mine who's not here anymore, so that one's for him.